our Tremolo series.
In this series, we're going to share with you tremolo pedals by some of our favorite manufacturers.
Thanks for joining us. Today we're taking a look at the Keeley Electronics Hydra, which is a stereo, reverb, and tremolo pedal.
Right.
And it does a lot.
It does. A lot. And so we're not going to fool around here. We're going to get right into this and try and pack it all into one episode. And I think, just disclaimer, what we really want to focus on is the features of the pedal. And so I think we start by just saying the reverbs and the tremolos sound great.
Yeah, they do.
They're amazing.
There's three of each, and they all have a modifier.
They sound great, and that's that. And you'll hear them throughout the episode, but maybe not as much of a focus there, like, because we want to show you how you can incorporate them, how you can use them. Pedal's great. Really amazing layout. And I say we jump into it.
Okay.
So.
Revolta Mondata 8, going stereo. Tyler PT22, Fender Hot Rod Deluxe, right behind us.
Mm-hmm.
New for us. We're going to keep pointing at that. I'm going to use all the pickups, all three, because I can. Here it is with nothing. You're welcome.
Still sounds good.
That's the room. And then we just put in, what, a spring?
Yeah. We're just going to let that spring run.
Yep.
So we're going to break this up into 4 or 5 parts. Part 1, here we go. Part 1 is the tremolo, and we're starting on that. So feature-wise of the tremolo, we have an on-off switch for the tremolo. We have a speed and a depth, and we have a toggle switch here. And the secondary feature of this toggle switch is the sine wave, harmonic tremolo, or vibrato tremolo. So we'll get into how to do that in a minute, which could be very, very shortly. Right? All right. So first thing I think we want to do is just hear the 3 different types.
Right.
So I guess we get into that now. To switch between the 3 different types, there's a couple ways to do it. The way we're going to do it right now is if you hold down the color knob here in the middle, the color knob, I was in the middle, and then flip the switch, you're in secondary mode and you're switching the different types. So it starts on sine, goes to harmonic, goes to vibrato. I think while you're playing, maybe I'll roll the depth around just a little bit in each mode.
Yeah.
Okay.
My only other question, where did we leave the panning part?
So yeah, it's in sync right now.
Okay.
So both amps are doing the same thing.
Bye, bye, bye. Every time someone says in sync. Okay, here we go. So I'm just playing the same thing, and you're pushing buttons.
Right.
He'll edit that out. Vibrato isn't always an interesting one.
Right. I felt like the switch from amplitude tremolo to harmonic tremolo was, you could hear it, but it wasn't drastic. But the switch, when we went from the harmonic tremolo to the vibrato, was like jumping on a boat out of control in the middle of the ocean. All right, so I'm going to switch this back to sine mode. Let's talk about the secondary functions in tremolo. So the first one, knob. I'm just holding this because I can't read that. The rate knob becomes the trem sync knob, and the depth knob becomes the trem level. So if you hold that color knob and turn either one of those, you're changing those functions. So the bottom knob, we're not going to do that. It's just volume. You can boost the volume a little bit. The top knob, though, the trem sync is very interesting. At 12 o'clock, the 12 o'clock position, it's both amps in sync. Right. Bye, bye, bye. If you turn it counterclockwise, so if I push down the color knob, roll counterclockwise, now they should ping pong. And so what we're going to do is we're going to pan the Tyler amp to the right ear, we'll pan the Fender amp to the left ear. If we take that same knob and roll it back up to 12, we're back in sync. And then if we go past 12, now the Fender is dry, right? So it's not getting any tremolo. All the tremolo is coming out of. So in your cans or your earbuds, you'd be hearing the tremolo in the right ear, not the left.
It's funny, after hearing it in Glorious Ping Pong, I thought, that's not going to sound good, but it did sound good.
It sounds nice.
It's a different sound.
Because it fills in those troughs with... All right, so then the other thing to maybe do would just be to hear the ping pong in harmonic and vibrato, and then hear the wet, dry, and harmonic and vibrato. All right. So if I push down the color knob, hit that one time, we're now on harmonic. I'm going to push down the color knob and roll this over to ping pong.
Forrest Gump.
If you saw me struggle there, sometimes I think when you're trying to do it with one hand, I don't get the color knob pushed down enough. So now I'm going to push the color knob, take this knob past 12 o'clock. So this is our wet dry mix. I'm going to push it. Take it back to harmonic tremolo, and we're going to do that same thing again. And so just, I'm going to put it back in sync. And I'm going to go back to the sine mode. All right. So I really like that wet dry thing. You know, we haven't explored that a lot, the wet dry mix thing, and it's really...
We don't want to like it too much because the other place we play all the time, I don't know if we can put 2 more amps on the stage and still be able to be there.
And not get a revolt.
Right.
All right, so that ends part 1. That's the tremolo.
Welcome back to part 2, where we're going to talk about the reverb in the Hydra.
Yeah, so we've turned off the tremolo. We're going to leave that off for now, even though it is the tremolo series. I mean.
That's right.
All right, so reverb, you have 3 knobs. The first knob is the color knob, so the color is more like a tone knob. Mm-hmm. Secondary feature is that it's the button that gets you into the secondary feature by pushing it down. You have at the top the dwell knob, and then you have the mixer knob, and then the foot switch. And we're going to come back to the foot switches in another part because they do a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. But right now we're just using them to turn them on and off. Dwell is how long the reverb lasts. Mix is bringing the amount of reverb in. And then, of course, we have the little 3-way toggle where you have a spring reverb, a plate, and a hall reverb. Okay. Secondary features, the dwell knob will take you from true, stereo to a wet dry mix. And so in this case, the mono out is the wet. Actually, always, both cases. The mono out's the wet. The stereo out is the dry. So in our setup, the dry would be the Fender, and the wet would always be the Tyler. So I think, let's do this. Let's have you play on, because we're trying to keep it short, but let you see everything. So I'll have Pat play on the spring. Maybe I'll move the mix and the dwell around a little bit, the tone around a little bit. But then I'm going to hit that secondary feature on the mixer, the reverb modifier. And so in the spring reverb, right now it's set to be like kind of a loose, smooth spring. As we roll to the right, it should tighten up and get a little more bouncy.
Yeah, and I switched, I think it's 2014, perhaps? American-made Strat.
Something like that.
The same reverb we had before, but...
Real quick before we go over to the hall, hit it once and let it ring with it on the tight and bouncy.
All right. Check it.
Yeah. And then I'll roll that back to the... We heard the difference. I'm not sure we...
Dude, I felt a little less space.
Let's turn the dwell up a little bit. Mix up. So here, like I said, that would be the diffused and smooth, and then should be the bouncy here. But again, like, totally over exaggerate. All right, so let's jump to hall.
Is it room? Is that what it is? Room. Starts in a closet and goes to a cabinet.
Oh no, this is plate. It's not hall. It's plate.
Look at us.
So on the plate, counterclockwise on the modifier is no shimmer. full clockwise is a big shimmer. So we'll let him start play on plate for a little bit, and then we'll start adding the shimmer in.
All right. It brings in a choir of mostly angels. I think there's a few.
You turn the dwell knob.
There's a few demons hiding out there. Hey.
All right, and then the last one is because my eyes are having so much trouble seeing that from here. What's the last one? Room. So this is the one where you start off in the closet and then you go to a cavern. So I'm gonna push the color knob, take the modifier all the way off.
All right. Not sure if that riff showed the best way of that, but when we got to the end, you could hear.
Yeah, well, and then also to the mixer, where the mixer and the dwell are. So you're taking the modifier up, making it huge, but if you don't bring the mixer up, and that was probably my fault, I didn't bring it up early enough. So you have these three things: how much mix you have, how much dwell you have for sustain, and then how big it sounds with that modifier. Not to mention, you could make it really dark, so we could turn the color down. If you just hit a chord and let the reverb ring.
I can't stop it. Can't stop it.
Yeah. It gets a lot brighter. So that's kind of the reverb.
Mm-hmm.
And like we said, the disclaimer in the beginning is there's just a ton of great sounds in here. There's no way that we can we could do a whole episode on like the spring reverb in here probably.
Right.
So I'd say end of part 2.
Wrap. That's a wrap. I thought you said something about going, but we can't go until we show you the wet dry on the reverb.
Right.
I almost thought of that myself.
Hashtag bad acting. Yeah, one thing we forgot is about dry. So just like the Trem Sync where we could go full stereo or go ping pong or whatever, we could do that with reverb too. Right now, this whole section, we've been running it in stereo reverb out of both amps.
Right.
But if we hold down that color knob and move this counterclockwise, so we go on that knob, the dwell knob counterclockwise, now the fender should be clean. And we should have reverb out of the Tyler. I think you really hear the snap of the Fender when you do that. Like when you hit those staccato things.
Right.
It's kind of like the best of both worlds. You have the wash, but you still have like
clarity.
Yeah. So that was the end of part 2.
No, really, it was.
It's like this and like that.
Exactly. Now we're on to part 3, and I've been told it's going to be like this and like that. And
So foot switches. Let's talk about like controlling foot switches.
yes.
So tremolo switch over here. First of all, on, off, no big deal. People have it. If you have the tremolo on though, and you want to tap in the tremolo, it's a simple matter of pressing and holding that switch. You'll see that happen, and then 2, 3, 4, we can tap it in.
You can see the light, yeah.
See the light.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's tap. So that's on and off for tremolo. Over here we have on and off for reverb. Reverb on. Now, an interesting thing that we can do, I can't see that light from where I'm saying. All right, so an interesting thing we can do with the reverb on, I'm going to turn the dwell up, and I'm going to turn the mixer up and just get a nice big spring reverb here. Pat, if you hit a chord, so if you hit the reverb and hold it, it gives us infinite sustain on that chord, which is really interesting depending on how you have the order. If you have reverb last and you do that, you get a nice big reverb wash. If you have tremolo last and you do that, you get the wash, but you get the tremolo inside the wash too. Mode switching, double tap the color knob. So if we take the color knob and double tap that, it actually shows us where both are. And so right now they're actually both on that first one. But if I tap reverb, I just switched it to the plate, switched it to room, and notice tremolo's over here on the sine. Then I can say, well, I want to have that on harmonic or vibrato or on sine, and maybe I want to take that back, and then double tap that again, and we're out of that mode. So if you just want to like really quickly get in there, not do them individually by pressing and flipping the little toggle, you can do it that way. So that's pretty cool. Remote switching. If you have a tip ring cable, like our old rattlesnake cable here, right here, and we plug that into a switch, and
AKA electrical box.
yeah, an electrical box with some switches in it, we can now use 2 momentary switches here. One of them will act as the tremolo. So if I push that, it turns the tremolo on. If I press and hold, oops, sorry. So we can turn it on and off remotely with that. We can press and hold. And so we've found a lot of times when you get to the remote like this, the secondary features of the switches don't seem to work.
Right.
And it does on here. Even with the reverb, if I press and hold that after a chord.
Yep, sorry. One job.
We can get to that infinite sustain thing again too. So that's really cool. There's an output jack on the top of the pedal, on the top left, that says remote switch, dedicated, and you still have the expression out switch. So jack. So in the expression out, if you plug a mono cable and just take a small switcher, which you're not going to be able to hold that one up because we didn't have a cable long enough.
Right.
But we can put it
under.
Put it right here just so you can see it. You know, again, it's just tap tempo. So you could have a tap tempo switch separate. You could have an A/B switch. So say you're using your Schmidt Array pedal board and you put the Keeley Hydra down underneath, you can still access these functions somewhere else, which is pretty cool. Remote switching. Trails is another really interesting thing. So say we have this set up. Let's just do it real quick. We're gonna hit this over to, what's that plate again? And I'm going to take the reverb.
Room's all the way over. Sorry, plate's in the middle.
Reverb modifier all the way up, and you're going to get a nice big wash. So disappointing.
Right? Where'd my wash go?
Yeah. So like if you're doing that, it's often nice to have the ability to set up trails. And so to set trails, all we have to do is hold both of these for 2 seconds. You saw that little switch, so I should be able to turn you back on.
It's a much better re-entry into the atmosphere.
Right, yeah, because it just kind of falls way behind you. There is an all wet and all dry mode that you can set. You can set into an all wet mode or an all dry mode by how you holding down some things and plugging it back in. We're not going to do that. And you can change the effects order really simple too. If we hold down this button and then double tap what we want to have first. And so right now we have tremolo going into reverb. So I'm going to hold down this, double tap that. And then if you play and let it go. I'm sorry, if you play and let it go, we should hear the tremolo affecting the reverb. That trail, you hear the tremolo in it. And then if we want to go back, hold down this, double tap tremolo first, and then we should be back with the tremolo being first. So not affecting the reverb trails. And I believe,
According to the notes.
that's it. Do you know what we didn't do though?
Uh-oh. What did we do?
Well, let's just... That's the end of part 3.
All right, welcome back to part 4. Hope you're well caffeinated, and here we go.
Yeah, this is pretty simple. This is just about creating, saving presets. 2 ways to get into presets. One is to push the color knob once. The other way would be to double tap the tap tempo button. So if I just double tap that, you see these 3 light up. We're now in the preset mode. The reverb button lets me toggle through. So there's preset 1, preset 2, preset 3. And then if I hit it one more time, they all 3 light up. If I select that one, then we're in what you see is what you get. So whatever's on the pedal settings is what you get. So I get back in. Preset 1, whatever we have saved right now, I'm going to save. And to save, you just press and hold. And so now that's saved in preset 1. Why don't we turn them on so?
Yeah.
And so we could then get out of preset 1, double tap. What you see is what you get. We're now out of preset 1. I'm going to make it something a little goofy. So what do you have? Double tap, preset 1, select. So I mean that's it.
Back to sanity.
Right, that's it. So you double tap to get in. Well, if you don't accidentally put it in the tap mode. Single tap up here does the same thing, right? Switch around. Actually, I don't think I accidentally put it in tap mode. I think I just was reading it wrong. Right? So, and then when you find the one you want, you would just click tap. And then if you have one you want to save.
Like this one?
So, double tap. Preset 2. Oh, I didn't save it. Double tap. I have to edit. Boom. Double tap. 2. Hold it. It's now saved. So, I'm pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty easy to understand. And you could do that with that external tap button as well. That's it.
Presets.
End of part 4.
Welcome back to part 5. We hope you're alive because we're about to express ourselves.
Right. So we've grabbed the Mission EP1 expression pedal, put it in the Hydra. Now we're using a TRS cable, so it's not thinking it's a tap tempo anymore. Pretty self-explanatory. Not self-explanatory. That's not the right word. Should be easy to set this up.
Yeah.
You can control multiple parameters.
Right.
You can make the parameters go kind of in reverse because you're assigning them to the heel and the toe.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to try and keep it simple here and just get it to control rate of tremolo.
Right.
So if we hold the color knob for 2 seconds, we're now in the expression mode. I'm going to take this down to heel, and I'm going to turn the speed all the way down. And I'm going to take the expression pedal, put it at toe. We're going to turn the speed all the way up. We're going to press and hold the color knob for 2 seconds to get out. And we're going to cross our fingers. I will tell you there's one useful thing that we found too. You can clear out the settings of the expression pedal. Right. So if you hold that color knob for 2 seconds, go back into the expression pedal setup, and then hold the tap tempo button for 2 seconds, it will clear them out. Mm-hmm. Then you got to hold it again, the color knob, to get out.
Right.
But that's one way that you can go and like clear everything out. And you can assign it to depth, and you can assign it to, whatever, which can make some really interesting combinations of things. So I think
that's the Hydra.
That's the Hydra in all its glory. Again, we've had several pedals from Keeley now. We've had the Rotosonic, the Neutrino, the Dynamite Roto, the Dynatrem. So this would be our 5th pedal from Keeley. And they're killing it. Mm-hmm. They all sound great. But this, I will say, this one has more control than anything we've looked at.
Right.
So
for sure. It's got four inputs, outputs on the side. On the left side only.
Right. I mean, they thought...
Yeah, outputs.
They thought this one through. Mm-hmm. So with that, this is the point we like to take a moment and thank everybody that's watching, clicking the subscribe button, hitting the notification bell, leaving comments down below, hitting like, going out to Instagram or Facebook. Stop by the new website. All the episodes from the Tremolo series can be found in one place there, and you can scroll through them. I think there's 2 or 3 pages of tremolo pedals now that you can look at. And thanks to our members. Big shout out to them for helping support the show in that way. And we just gave them a great price list the other day.
We did.
So
if you come to the room, you can see what it looks like.
With that,
I'm PJ on behalf of the Beard, reminding you, no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear. Especially when it says Keeley Electronics on it.
Some drive?
Oh, yeah, Timmy, how you been? Bye.